Professional though, isn't he, with the interviews and everything? You think he'd been doing it for years.
Well, yeah, almost.
He probably has been.
Well, he's been over to the Red Bull Rookies Cup. He's gone over to the tryouts of the Asia Talent Cup as well. Benny Baker was over there last year. Wasn't riding. He was having a look, but I'm sure Ben will be over there this year to try his luck and see and get him, pardon me, a contract to ride in the Asia Talent Cup. As we move on now to our final race of the day here today, the third round of the 2017 YMF Australian Superbike Championships, which has a vast display of classes from, as we just saw, the learners in the GP Juniors Cup, all the way through to the big boys of the Superbikes. Now to wrap it up, the first round of the Australian Sidecar Championships for 2017. And these guys put on a pretty good demonstration this morning as well, with the difference with the Formula 1 machines and the Formula 2 machines. The Formula 1's been up to 1,000 cc's and the Formula 2's up to 600 cc's.
Well, and also we saw a Formula 2 machine take out second place outright in yesterday's race too, Braxy. So around this Winton circuit, this doesn't mean because you've got a 1,000cc machine you're going to have it all your own way over the Formula 2 bikes. And great to see riders like Mick Alton and Clancy out there, because they're preparing for their assault once again on the Isle of Man TT. Yeah,
they leave in about 7 days' time. I think Mick was saying to me this morning that and he's more nervous now than he was last year for two reasons. He knows what he's getting himself in for,
and he's got to beat his performance from last year.
Exactly.
And Chrissy Clancy's husband's also out there racing as well.
Yep. On bike number, he's down there, and second of the bike number 38. One of the likeable gentlemen of sidecar racing. And his young bloke is going to come and have a bit of a steer on the GP Juniors Cup, I've been informed today too, so that's good. And also on bike number 4, we've got one of the real veterans of sidecar racing in Australia, Bruce Collins and DeAngelis. Bruce Collins, anybody from Melbourne would recognise the name in the motorcycling fraternity.
Yeah, Bruce Collins got a couple of Australian championships to his name as well.
Yep, and Bruce Collins Enterprises over the years. And a good stalwart of the Sidecar Championship. And hopefully, Phil, that we've got 12 bikes on the grid this time. Hopefully, for when we have the remainder of the rounds here for the sidecars, that we see a few more of them coming out to our star on the live streaming on asbk.com.au, and also on the live coverage maybe on their SBS network later on during the year.
Well, as they make their way off on their final sighting and warm-up lap, it will be the 27 machine of Howard Ford and Lee Menzies that start from pole position. But as you mentioned, Giro Joyce and Corey Blackman starting from pole position. It's Howard Ford and Lee Menzies starting from second position. But as you mentioned yesterday, watch for the guys that are starting a little bit further back in the field.
Yeah, that's particularly Goldie and Crass from position number 5 on their Formula 2 machine. They got through to second position yesterday, and some dynamic racing. There's no other word to describe that, the way they used the, I suppose the agility and the steering option of the 600cc outfit to perfection. Well, Gero Joyce on his RHR outfit, the one that's made locally actually, it's a Western Australian outfit, which is probably remarkably cheaper than what some of the LCR outfits are, the Louis Christian racing machines, the monocoque chassis that have been made famous and actually rejuvenated and reinvented sidecar racing in the late 70s and early 80s.
And also using Kawasaki power against the more favoured in the big class of Suzuki power.
Yeah. And they've had that in that bike for a number of years, actually. They're quite happy with the performance of the Kawasaki, which would make you rather happy too. Being the Kawasaki, I've only seen you bleed once, and geez, there was a lot of green mess on the ground.
And it was Kawasaki Racing Green too. There's Mick Alton and Chrissy Clancy.
They're a great team.
He's got his Isle of Man TT helmet on.
I wonder why.
Great to see Mick Alton. We actually had Mick Alton on Ride Rage Radio just before he went over to the Isle of Man last year, and he was saying about how he was. It's been a lifelong ambition for him to get over there, and he's now fulfilled that ambition. And great to see him going back again and having another go this year.
The only trouble with fulfilling that lifelong ambition is that the ambition continues. It's not as if it's
like an addiction.
It's not as if the appetite's been sated. It means that just a bit hungry for more. And we'll just see if Gero Joyce and Corey Blackman, the defending Australian sidecar champions, who wrapped up the championship last year at the Kings of Wanneroo in December, can repeat their performance from yesterday, or is Corey Ford and Menzies going to actually come out and give them a big serve like they did this morning?
Well, and also keep your eye on Terry Goldie, as you mentioned, and Jamie Crass on board the little Formula 2 machine, because they went extremely well as well on the first race yesterday afternoon.
And Ford and Menzies did not start the race yesterday afternoon either. They had a few mechanical problems, but as is a fraternity of the sidecars, they all dipped in together and managed to get an outfit ready for them.
And also, I think John Clancy and Warren Grubb had some problems early in the race as well, which forced an early retirement. But we're in the starters' hands just about.
I love the way the swingers just brace themselves and get right behind their rider.
Lights are on, we're away, and a great start from the second row of the grid. Was that Bowen and O'Kane that got a great start on board was that the 32 machine?
And they move into the lead. What a drag race to the spokes.com.au S's there. They just cleared out. As that would have surprised Gerard Joyce, I think. He's gone, hang on, you're not meant to be there. And Bowen and O'Kane, they've been around for a number of years as well. They're on a Suzuki LCR outfit on the Formula 1 machine.
Use the bottom end grunt of that Suzuki GSX-R 1000 motor to just launch them off the line. There's the 27 machine of Howard Ford and Lee Menzies sitting back in position number 3 at the moment. But it is still Bowen and O'Kane Suzuki that leads from Giro Joyce and Corey Blackman.
Corey Blackman shaking his head as he went into that corner up there. Just say, what are we doing in second spot? You're making it harder for us there, Giro. Oh, and underneath there's Zach Goldie and Crass having a bit of a go there on bike number 27. And there's the rest of the field throwing themselves around. And also, we've got to go without saying that while the Chrissy Clancy is the only lady in this field at the moment, there's a number of women that actually do swinging duties on the and looks like they've had no, they're going all right. They just ran it a bit wide, did Ford and Menzies. But the amount of ladies that do actually take part in swinging duties, I mean that most sincerely is the fact that they're our passengers on the machines that get there. There's a number of, particularly through the Annandale Lighter Car Club in Sydney and all around, and particularly in Western Australia, there's a few girls that get on the side of the machines. And here we go, there goes Joyce and Blackman into the lead.
Well, even as we've seen at a couple of the so far, it's Howard getting it all wrong again. He's hit the ripple strip a couple of times on that last lap. One of them over there at High Tech Batteries, and once again coming down into the spokes corner there. But yeah, we've seen a family affair that the Island Classic earlier on this year. We saw the mum and dad racing, daughter swinging for someone else.
For Doug Chivers. That was the old and the new. Scooby Breen there, and
with her very unique style.
Very unique style, like laying prone as if you're on a firing range.
It almost looked like Superman. Oh, down the inside.
Goldie and Crash, what a move that is.
The 227 machines have almost come to grief there.
Did you see the big black line that Ford and Menzies laid on the exit of that corner as they put the power down of the Avon tyre? The Avon's, been a stalwart of sidecar racing for how many years? Well, 30 years or whatever?
As long as I can ever remember, and it's a massive big back tyre, and you've got to have a fair amount of grunt to spin one of those up. As we look at this battle now, is it going backwards? It's Bowen and O'Kane. They've gone back to third, because on the real charge at the moment is that Ford and Menzies on board the... well, there's two 27 machines out. They're trying to decipher which one is actually 27A and which one's 27.
Yeah, 27 is that one there, the green and black outfit, the Formula 2 machine. Whereas the bigger booming GSX-R 1000. Around the outside they come from Jerry, Joyce and Blackman, so it's Ford and Menzies take the lead, take a tight line through Spokes S's, and you can hear the wheel spinning of the machines as they head up the hill.
Well, on the last lap, Howard Ford was all over the place, hitting ripple strips left, right and centre, and all of a sudden he's now in the lead with Giro Joyce having to play second fiddle. He won't be too entertained with that one. And
Goldie and Crass moving up in a third position on a repeat performance of their effort yesterday afternoon. And I love the way the actual swinger, the passenger, ducks his head when they're on a straight as if to say, I don't care where you're going, but that just shows you the teamwork between these guys.
And also they've got their head down. They wouldn't actually be able to see when they're coming up to the corner, so they just have to know, okay, it's going to take that long.
Just the difference in braking is that you see the inside wheel of Gero Joyce and Blackman lift on the between that, and you'll notice that there's a knee slider, not on the knee of the passenger, but on the left-hand rear rump, because when they're hanging out there, sometimes they touch down, and a lot of times they touch down, and also their elbow as they're trying to hang on to the outside of the platform.
And also the amount of strength that you've got to have to move from side to side, going against the gravity and everything as well. The swinging is extremely hard physical work.
And there's one point on it, they call it the lifeline, that you never let go of. It's right in the middle there, and you can see that Menzies is hanging onto it with his left hand. Pardon me, putting his hand over the right hand side of the outfit to get a bit of a grip on, and he's set out a bit of a lead. Now what can Goldie and Crass do in third position? They're starting to give Gero Joyce and Corey Blackman a bit of a hurry up at the moment as well, as they come down now. They're half race distance at the moment, but look at the twitching as they just flick it sideways into the corner. And unfortunately, with having the fairings on, you don't actually see the dynamics of how much the actual chassis of the bike moves as they negotiate for tighter corners.
Well, and also the fact too that they steer completely different into left-hand corners than they do into right-hand corners as well.
Well, right-hand corners on a tight one, they just flick it sideways about 50 metres beforehand. And I've got to get you on a sidecar one day, Phil.
Yeah, knees don't bend, sorry enough. Oh, look at the front-end chatter there of the Goldie and Crass machine.
The Formula 2 600cc outfit.
You can see the front end just bouncing up and down into the YMF corner there as they got late on the brakes.
And there's another handhold that that's not just an air vent at all. That's the hang on to. That's that sole purpose for the right hand. As Menzies hangs out the left hand side, they might even get a little bit of a tyre saving there as they lift the inside wheel through the turn. And a good driver, they tell me, or a good rider, will be actually able to do that in a longer race, just to let even with the accounting for the passenger, just to let the inside wheel turn during the course of a left-hander, just to keep it off and steer it around, and it gets around a little bit quicker as Menzies Ford takes a tear off his visor. So
start of lap 5 now for our 8-lap journey for the final race of the sidecars in today's program. 3 races over the duration of today's program.
Now, Gero Joyce left his run a little bit too late in that second race this morning, where Ford and Menzies had a pretty big lead over the pair of them, and these pair decided, okay, we'll have a bit of a crack at this. And poor old Gero Joyce, he missed out by about 0.3 of a second, but I don't know if that's going to happen this time as he makes the attack, the number 1 plate, the defending champion, on his Western Australian-built Kawasaki-powered machine.
Yeah, good to see some Australian engineering out there as well, Braxia. Look at those black lines coming out of that corner. I think they're not the only ones that have been lighting it up all weekend.
There's a bit of tyre saving exhibition there as they tip through that Kawasaki corner to come up the Shark corner again. They're right on it at the moment as they go down, charging through into the high-tech left-hander.
I think Ford and Menzies are doing a great job here to hold off the charge of Gero Joyce, because I thought he was in position to go past only half a lap ago. But look at the distance that they've opened out now. The fastest lap of the race so far, a 1:33.289 for Howard Ford.
And looking at slide their way through those corners.
Well, that gap now has to be out to over a second, I reckon, as they come round to complete the 5th lap.
2 seconds.
2 seconds.
Blitz it. So in not even half a lap from that short back YMI straight, pardon me, that leads into turn 10, he's pulled out over a second.
He was a second faster on that last lap, or almost a second faster on the last lap, still lapping in the 1:33s, whereas Joyce and Blackman are back into the 34s. The rest of the field are back in the 36s or 37s. These two are in a class of their own at the moment. And Gero Joyce has got a little bit of work to do to try and haul in that 2-second lead now of our race leader on bike number 27, Howard Ford and Lee Menzies.
And I'll tell you what, he's not just cruising around because it's the last race of the day. He's making that LCR. And did you see the smoke pouring off the rear tyre? That was just another confirmation of how hard he's trying.
It was almost like a Rastafarian Christmas party, Braxton, as he made his way through YMF corner.
Nothing's that smoky, is it?
Well, down out of Shark corner now and down into the high-tech batteries corner. Looking pretty smooth too as he comes his way through there. Once again, just hitting the inside ripple strip of fraction. But
Just seeing if his passengers awake.
well, it doesn't seem to have upset his pace over the last couple of laps. He's still the fastest man on track by a considerable margin.
Maybe that's just flitting it a little bit sideways and he gets to drive.
Oh, it was almost like the World Rally Championship there. He was so sideways coming out of that corner.
Another big black line gets laid on the tarmac here at Winton Raceway as we get down to the closing stages of round 3 of the 2017 YMF Australian Superbike Championships, which the sidecars have been a part of, and good to see them back after a few years' absence from the premier category of road racing in this country.
Yeah, that was bike number 65. Darryl McLeod and Paul Matthews in their F2 sidecar having a good battle as our leaders now are starting to lap the slower F2 machines at the rear of the field.
And it doesn't matter where you are, the body language is pretty similar.
Well, I was just thinking if they get held up here at fraction, Giro Joyce might be straight back into them. But no, the blue flags have done their job and those back markers have got out of the way. And our race leader, Howard Ford, has just made his way through with very good precision. Yeah, that's into that corner. It seems to be the last couple of laps. They're all very late on the brakes and front end pattering up and down.
Well, it's just showing that they're trying very hard to the very end as the inside wheel comes up. And around the outside comes Giro Joyce and Corey Blackman, letting them know that they're coming along. So we'll be getting close to the last lap. It gives them a bit of a wave. Got the time to say thanks, guys, for getting out of the way.
Now, Braxy, you mentioned about the LCR chassis, how they're about $120,000, the Louis Christensen Racing ones. Any idea how much it cost to develop that local RHR machine from Western Australia?
Probably in the vicinity of about $30,000.
So you can have 3 of them on the grid, or 4 of them on the grid.
In defence of Louis Christian Racing, that's all the carbon fibre monocoque frame that they do build, whereas these guys have got a bit of carbon fibre in there, but a lot of it's more of the traditional steel outfit. And we've just got to look to see where my old mate Matty McKinnon is. He's in 9th position at the moment.
And more usually associated with being a swinger on board the sidecars, but this weekend having a bit of a steer.
Yeah, well, he's built the bike with Peter Campbell and his old man.
We've actually got one gone straight on at High Tech Batteries corner. Just couldn't seem to get the machine pulled up. They've turned it around and hopefully they'll be able to continue on.
I'm just wondering if that is the Goldie Crash outfit there on bike number 27. Because they've gone through that first split. We'll see if they... no, they're still there for the...
No, I think it might be McLeod on bike number 65 even.
Could be as their last lap board. It's a bit hard to tell from this distance. Oh, another big smoky there. That was 2 Christmas parties.
Certainly was, and good to see them celebrating their certain victory now as they make their way through those corners and not afraid to get the bike a little bit sideways on this last lap.
Well, you've got to make the passenger work for it. Can't have him just sitting there out for the Sunday afternoon.
So that should be the round win for Howard Ford and his swinger, because he's taken 2 victories so far this weekend.
Yep, 2 wins and a second place. No,
third place.
Third place, pardon me, yesterday afternoon, because that was Goldie and Crash that got up to the lead.
Yep, and Giro Joyce took the win in yesterday's race. So they'll have a win and 2 second places. Whatever the changes they've made to the machine overnight, that's certainly worked a treat, and they'll take the win by, well, it'll be close to 6 seconds, I think, as they come across the line to take the checkered flag. Final time this weekend for Graham Checkers Stewart.
Great weekend coming to a close, and we wait so long to get to a race meeting, and within a blink of an eye it seems to disappear in front of us.
And the sidecars have put on a great show this weekend as well and provided some great racing action. Oh, the F2 battle is on in earnest. Looks like Goldie and Crash will take that victory quite comfortably from Bruce Collins and DeAngelis in position number 5.
Yeah, Peter DeAngelis, 2 of the champions of the sidecar boys. Have got some good mates amongst those guys, and Nick Elton won't be too happy with that, but then Bruce Collins and Pete might go, hang on, let's go to the Isle of Man.
So there you go, there's our race winner, Howard Ford, taking the victory on his Suzuki LCR. Good to see the locally built machine, the Kawasaki RHR, taking 2nd place with Giro Joyce and Corey Blackman, and Terry Goldie taking out 3rd position. Rest of the field making their way through. Bowen Collins, as we said, in 5th position. Mick Alton, Jeff Brown back there with Darren Sheldrick in 7th position. Matty McKinnon finishing in 8th position. Braxy, and I don't usually remember him riding the bike. He's always swinging. How many times has he actually ridden? I think I can only remember probably once before.
I think this might be second or third, not too many times.
Well, next round of the championship moves to Darwin's Hidden Valley. Great memories of some great rounds at Hidden Valley. Braxy will be up there on the 6th to the 9th of July. The first